If you've spent any time working with data, you know this feeling. It's just
Ah,
this gut-wrenching moment.
oh, absolutely.
You have this one tool, it's fast, it's part of your workflow, you can't live without it, and then slowly but surely, it just starts to crumble.
It's the classic Achilles heel of the open source world, isn't it? You rely on these brilliant libraries, but eventually they can become static. And for what we're talking about today, charting complex financial data, that friction, that failure, it just kills your workflow instantly.
And that specific pain, that frustration, is exactly what sparked the solution we're diving into today. It's a new module called Quantmod charting.
Right. We're looking at a post by Kannan Singaravelu that announced this tool. It's really designed for quants, for analysts who are just, well, they're fed up with wrestling with defunct software.
So our mission is pretty straightforward. We want to give you a shortcut to understanding why this tool was created, what problems it solves, and, what kind of powerful financial charts you can get with these really simple commands.
Exactly. If you need speed and you need clean visuals to explore your data, this is definitely for you.
Okay, so let's start with the original tool, the casualty in this story. For years, Cufflinks was pretty much the go-to.
It was. It was celebrated for its one-liner plots. Super clean, super smooth.
But the author didn't actually set out to invent something new, right? They were just trying to keep their main tool working.
That's the key here. They just needed it to work. But Cufflinks had hit a wall. Its last major update was about 5 years ago.
5 years is an eternity in software.
It is. And that dependency drift means key functions are now deprecated. They're, in the author's words, breaking all over the place.
So I get the impulse then, you try to fix what you love. The post mentions they first tried to fork it and patch it up.
They did, but that's where they hit the rabbit hole.
It just goes too deep.
It goes really deep. Fixing one bug just uncovers two more. It became pretty clear that trying to salvage it just wasn't efficient.
Right.
So they moved to step two.
Which was what? Building a wrapper?
Exactly. The common intermediate step. Building lightweight wrappers around Plotly Express.
And that didn't work either. I mean, why not? Technically, what was the problem?
Well, the wrappers introduce an extra layer of abstraction. And while they kind of worked, that critical responsiveness was just gone.
Ah, so it added lag.
It added lag. The author compares it to going from something buttery to something kind of dry. When you're exploring market data, you need charts to respond instantly. That lag is poison for exploration.
So they wanted that smooth, effortless charting vibe back. And to get it, they had to scrap the wrappers entirely.
Precisely. This is the big pivot. They decided to build Quantmod charting using raw Plotly graph objects.
Directly from the source.
By working directly with those core objects, they brought back the performance and, just as importantly, the stability. The goal wasn't just to make it work, but to make it integrate seamlessly into their existing Quantmod workflow.
Which makes it practical from day one. So that brings us to the core philosophy. The feature's designed to save you time and headaches. The return of the one-liner is huge here. Just dot a plot.
That one command is a massive productivity boost. But I think the real game changer for anyone who's ever wasted hours tweaking a chart is that it ships with sensible defaults.
Meaning you don't have to spend your time wrestling with Plotly's layout config, as the author puts it.
Yes, the module just handles the layout, the scaling, the financial formatting, all of it, automatically.
But hold on, aren't sensible defaults a bit subjective? I mean, what if you need something really specific, really customized?
That's a fair point. But the defaults here aren't just arbitrary. They are specifically tailored for financial data.
Okay, so what does that mean in practice?
It means the axes are already configured for time series. It expects things like volume overlays. The most critical financial chart types are ready to go out of the box. You can handle, say, 90% of your visualization needs with zero configuration.
And for that other 10%?
The underlying Plotly structure is still there. You can still access it for those complex custom jobs. But the barrier to entry for standard charting just vanishes.
That completely changes the workflow. You're analyzing, not configuring. So let's get into the toolkit showcase from the source material because the range of charts here is really impressive.
It is. The setup is pretty standard. You load up some data frames for multiple stocks, Asian Paint, ICISA Bank, Reliance, and so on.
And you calculate your key metrics like daily returns or annualized volatility.
Right, that's the prep. But the visualization phase is where the module's efficiency really shines. Let's maybe group the examples into, say, 3 key analytical clusters to show its power.
Sounds good. So where do we start? The essentials.
Let's start with time series essentials. For tracking trades, You need more than a simple line chart. You need specialized formats.
Like an OHLC chart.
Exactly. The OHLC chart open, high, low, close is fundamental for seeing what happened inside a trading period. Or even more common, the candlestick chart, which gives you that instant visual on price action, volatility, and sentiment.
And the point is you get these specific detailed views with that single .iplot call. No 10 lines of setup code.
That's the whole philosophy.
Okay, so that's a single asset. But what about comparing stocks across a portfolio? I mean, comparing the raw price of a $1,000 stock to a $10 stock is pretty meaningless.
It's completely meaningless. And that brings us to the second cluster. Comparison and normalization. The star of the show here is the normalized plot.
This is so essential for any kind of quantitative work.
It is. It takes multiple stocks, sets a baseline. Let's say they all start at 100 on day one, and then it plots their relative performance over time. You immediately see who's outperforming, no matter what their actual share price is.
So you can just instantly see how, say, Reliance is doing compared to TCS.
Instantly. The normalization math is all handled for you. It's about clarity.
Love that. Okay, what about the tools for the really hardcore quants? The charts for risk management, for portfolio optimization?
This is our third and, I'd argue, most powerful cluster, relational analysis and aggregation. This is where you see Plotly being leveraged really efficiently. Let's talk about the heat map.
Yeah.
The source material shows it being used for a correlation plot of the returns matrix. Now, correlation plots can be a real pain to set up manually.
Oh, for sure.
But here, a one-liner call gets you a color-coded matrix. You can visually spot complex relationships across your entire portfolio's risk profile in seconds.
So the heat map just immediately shows you which assets are moving together and which are maybe diversifying your risk just by the color.
Exactly. And then for composition, for seeing the big picture, there's the tree map.
Right, the tree map answers the question, where is my risk or my return actually coming from?
Perfect way to put it. The source shows a tree map of annualized returns. The size of each rectangle shows you its share of the total. You see instantly which stock is contributing the most to your portfolio's return. It's a critical tool for high-level summaries.
So we've really gone from the super granular, the OHLC charts, all the way up to portfolio-wide correlation and composition, all from this one module.
It really covers that whole analytical spectrum that a modern analyst needs.
And it all comes back to that really simple motivation, doesn't it? The author wasn't trying to build the next big thing.
Not at all. They built it out of pure necessity. They, and I quote, just wanted cufflinks to work again. And when they couldn't fix it, they rebuilt the part they needed on a more stable foundation raw Plotly objects.
So for our listener who's working with financial data right now, what's the immediate takeaway? What's the value proposition?
It means you now have a tool that's lightweight, it's flexible, and it brings back that low latency interactive feel that's so important. It fills a real productivity gap left by decaying open source projects.
And it's not a dead end. It's designed to grow.
Right. The author puts out a direct invitation to the community. Try it, break it, tell me what's missing. They want to improve it based on how people actually work. This ensures it's going to evolve.
That community angle is so critical for longevity. You know, this whole story raises a bigger question, I think, about the constant trade-offs we make in the data science world.
How so?
Well, when a foundational tool like Cufflinks starts to break, you have a choice. You can desperately try to salvage the old static thing you know, or you can adopt something new and actively maintain, or in this case, build it yourself.
And that's a question for you, the listener, to really think about. In a field that is built on layers and layers of dependencies, maybe the most critical skill isn't just knowing how to use every tool out there.
Maybe it's something more.
Maybe it's having the vision to realize that sometimes the most efficient path forward is to build the specific friction-free tool you need instead of trying to endlessly patch something that was built on a foundation that's just not there anymore.
The ultimate lesson in dependency management. You have to be willing to engineer a solution when the infrastructure fails. A fascinating deep dive. Hopefully this helps you get back to charting and charting quickly.